accidents are terrifying experiences. You're hurt, and you need someone on your side who understands. Call the Advocates. They have over 20 years of experience with accident cases and have recovered settlements for hundreds of other motorcyclists. They can handle the medical bills and deal with the insurance company so you can focus on recovering and getting back on your bike. The Advocates are my motorcycle attorneys.
You deserve clear, risk-free advice to help get you back on your feet. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Happy Football Friday on The Monty Show. Friday, October 4th, 2024. The Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. You never pay the Advocates a penny out of pocket. It is exactly how it should be. When you've been in an accident, this is likely the last great weekend to look at fall colors. Oh my, I cannot wait. Getting up to the mountains to play some golf this weekend up at Canyons. Going to look at all of the colors, and you know there's going to be motorcycles, cyclists, people out everywhere. Be careful. And if the worst happens this weekend, get to the Advocates at theadvocates.com. You can chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365 days a year, and it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. Boy, what a weekend of football it is not. I think this is the last worst weekend. Does that make sense?
Whatever you want to describe it as, it's trash.
Jake and I are talking last night about what games we want to project onto your wallet today, and Jake's like, let's just not do the show because there's no good games.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Marty Show that only talks NFL games, apparently.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll have our picks for you coming up. Those games will include Iowa at the Ohio State, Michigan and Washington, Miami at Cal, Pac-12 after dark. That's 7:30 Pacific on ESPN. And, of course, the Chicago Bears continue their march to the Super Bowl in 5 years. Let's give some shout-outs before we get to Greg Sankey and the SEC. Wait until you hear about this Greg Sankey clip. Mike Smith, hello. The real Pete Forte, who now is rocking a Pac-12 logo. Hey, man, you got the pro rata you deserved.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Mr. Preston, hello. We made it. It's Friday. We did, and I still have not fixed the tailgate on my Jeep. Mr. Preston, of course, is the Monty Show personal mechanic.
The Monty program.
You need something fixed on your car, Mr. Preston's the dude. I'm telling you. The guy is an absolute mechanical wizard. Mark Hales, hello. Jeremiah Sullivan, hello. Good to see you. 21, can you do something for me?
Are you serious right now with that?
Come on, man.
Dude.
I love that song.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Oh, I'm sorry, that track.
21.
Can you do something for me? Isn't that what the hip kids call it, a track?
Yeah, a track.
Good to see all of you. Let's get right to work on the Monty Show. Here's a pretty simple question for you. Is SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey a villain? And I really don't understand the vitriol around Greg Sankey. I know this is not new or groundbreaking. I've talked about this 1,000 times on the show. Greg Sankey's the most powerful man in all of college football. I don't think there's a question about it. When a commissioner of college football, which is going to happen when that is finally made and somebody is selected, if it's not Greg Sankey, it shouldn't be anybody. Because he is, I think, the innovator. I think he is the power broker. He is the czar, the don, the man of college football. Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC. You don't have to like that. I know there's a lot of you who watch this show who hate Greg Sankey, but I got news for you. You don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it because Greg Sankey's not going anywhere. And with this Big Ten SEC alliance that has scared so many, Greg Sankey's become more of a heel, more of a bad guy, more of a villain, and I frankly do not understand it. And we're going to get into this Big Ten SEC thing, but I want to play you this bite. Greg Sankey talking about this idea that everybody in college football wants to be the SEC.
I don't want to dumb down the Southeastern Conference to be part of some Super League notion with 70 teams that some people speculate would happen. They want to be us, and that's on them to figure it out, not on me to bring myself back to earth.
Dude, I love it. The Triple Option Podcast, that link is in my Twitter feed on
X, formerly known as Twitter.
It's on my X feed. Go and get it. The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. I love this, and I'm going to play it again because I agree with this notion 100%. It is not Greg Sankey's job to worry about what everybody else in college football is doing. His job is to make sure that he positions the SEC in the best possible position to win.
I don't want to dumb down the Southeastern Conference to be part of some Super League notion with 70 teams that some people speculate would happen. They want to be us, and that's on them to figure it out, not on me to bring myself back to earth.
I don't know how you even make an argument against that. I truly do not. Whether you're a small business owner, whether you're a bro doing curls in the squat rack at your local gym.
Do you even lift?
It's not on you to worry about what everybody else is doing. Greg Sankey and this idea that he somehow should slow his roll, or no, he should not. He should keep doing and what he's been doing. And Jake, that's building the best brand in college football.
Yeah, and I think, when you have the level of success the SEC has had, you're going to have haters. You're going to have people who, think the SEC is destroying college football and, think that the SEC, lives on this double standard where they get all these teams into the college football playoff, but, the Big 12 or the ACC or the Group of Five doesn't have the same opportunity. Well, I got news for you. They don't have the same opportunity because they haven't earned that opportunity. And I think, it does get tired sometimes when it's Alabama and Georgia every single year. And in the past, I've on the show said that even for me as a football fan and a football observer watching these games, sometimes it does get tiring. But I got to be honest with you guys. Watching Bama, Georgia last weekend, I was not tired of that. I'm here for that. I am here for big-time SEC matchup football games. And I think, I give Greg Sankey a lot of credit for understanding, not only who he is and where he's going in his own personal career with college football and college athletics, but understanding that the conference he's leading not only has a responsibility to take college football and college athletics into the future and into the next 10 years, but also that they get to decide and really affect change. And that if they do a poor job of that, that's going to have a ripple effect across the entire landscape. So to me, when I hear this clip, yes, is it kind of a hot take out of Commissioner Sankey? Yeah, of course. He's drawing a line in the sand saying, hey, they want to be us. That's not right. My responsibility, not my job to come back.
But is that a hot take, or is that just the reality of being a boss?
I think a little bit of it, maybe 30% of it, is him enjoying that view that he has, enjoying the fact that the SEC and himself are up on that perch that they've built. And again, they deserve credit for that. That's not been gifted to them. They've earned that. But,
that's right.
But I think, the other part of it, the other 70% of that comment is facts. It's true. Like the SEC, plays the biggest games on the biggest TV networks and is consistently dominating the conversation. And you don't have to like that. And I understand why an ACC fan or or a Big 12 fan wouldn't like that, but it is the reality of the situation. And at some point, we have to be okay saying, yeah, you know what? Like, yes, a Super League would be is probably necessary when it comes to the financials of running these football programs and athletic departments. But at the same time, Greg Sankey is not just going to throw a Super League together and dumb down what the SEC has built.
I have no problem with Greg Sankey, and I know that's not the popular opinion, and I usually get swooped on here for that. I respect Greg Sankey. I think he's the best commissioner in college football. I think that he has taken up a position that is very easy to fail at. And I think he has not failed. He has not succeeded. He has, in fact, thrived. And if you're a fan of the Big 12, the ACC, any G5 team, and you have an issue with Greg Sankey, frankly, your issue is with the commissioner of your conference and your conference's inability to compete at the same level as the SEC. This is, to me, I look at this Big Ten SEC rumored scheduling alliance. Why would they do anything else other than that? And why is that bad for college football? It's not. You have to raise your bar. And that is a life lesson. That's not a college football hot take. That's a life lesson. If you're looking at somebody else, or if you're looking at your neighbor's grass and their house and their car, that's your fault. That's not their fault for having a nicer house, car, and lawn than you do. And I look at Greg Sankey in the exact same way. You've got to build the conference that you want. You've got to do what you've got to do. And maybe this is a Pac-12 conversation. Maybe the Pac-12 rummaging through every G5 conference they can find to see what team shakes out into the Pac-12. Hey, maybe that's just them doing what they need to do. But I would say the Pac-12 and their commissioners, including Teresa Gould, those are the villains of college football. Not Greg Sankey, who is, in my opinion, taking college football to the next level. When you have the viewership numbers that Georgia, Alabama put out the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild to me.
Yeah, you have 15 million views for one football game. Like,
how is that even possible?
Yeah, I think, the Pac-12 angle is an interesting one because, the clear difference between, what the SEC has built and what the Pac-12 is doing is where they are in the conversation. I mean, I would agree that, the Pac-12 is doing what they have to do, but building success and doing that and being vilified for that is different than tearing down other conferences so you can build success. And that's the difference between the two. And I think that's why, the Pac-12 has, in my opinion, a little bit of an image problem. And that's why the SEC doesn't have an image problem. They're just resented. Because
I think they have a resentment problem.
Yeah, people just resent the SEC. They don't say, oh, well, the SEC is just rummaging through our conference. The SEC wasn't Greg Sankey wasn't the catalyst of Texas and Oklahoma going to that conference. Now, did he help make that happen? Yes, but let's not sit here and say that the SEC is, rummaging through conferences the way the Pac-12 is. And a lot of people like to say, oh, well, the SEC came for Texas and Oklahoma and they took this brand and that brand. No, actually, it was the other way. Those brands wanted to join a superior conference and came knocking, and Greg Sankey mutually valued those brands and helped make it happen, whereas the Pac-12 is out here just poaching teams.
I also think you look at the Big 12 versus the SEC. I mean, the Big 12 is victim the right word? That's probably strong. But if there's a conference that's been a victim of the SEC, check the roles of the Big 12 versus then and now. Because you look at the A&Ms of the world or the Oklahoma and the Texases and the laundry list of teams, right, that have vacated, and you quickly begin to understand you have a choice. You can fold or you can fight and build back. And I think it's what's so remarkable about the Big 12's ability to survive. Now, some of that is the Pac-12's incompetence, because the Pac-12 should have gutted the Big 12, and they didn't. But this is the world we live in now. And if you look at this SEC Big Ten scheduling alliance, bro, they've got two of the biggest rivalry games every single year with Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State, Michigan. What is every Ohio State fan talking about right now?
Better beat Michigan this year.
You better beat Michigan this year, right? It's what's right with college football. And I just continue to say, as much as I believe in BYU and Utah as the most heated rivalry in college football, because it is, they're not drawing 20 million people to the TV.
No.
They're not drawing 15 million people to the TV.
That's 3-4 mil max.
It's just a different way of doing business. And I agree. And I want to play this bite again, because I think when you look at what Greg Sankey said here, it's a way that I believe we should all live our lives. I'm doing what I'm doing because you're upset. I shouldn't bring myself down to your level. You should get on my level and stop being upset.
I don't want to dumb down the Southeastern Conference to be part of some Super League notion with 70 teams that some people speculate would happen. They want to be us, and that's on them to figure it out, not on me to bring myself back to earth.
The Triple Option Podcast.
And I agree. The SEC
God
is left
damn.
earth. I agree with that. I think that the SEC is far and away, head and shoulders, not close to the best college football conference that we have. And everyone's going to say, oh, well, what about the Big Ten? Well, the Big Ten's problem is this is your first year having any semblance of a top to bottom competitive conference.
Yeah.
And the SEC's been doing that for years to a point where people want to play 9 conference games. So things are a little more fair. And I think that college football, you don't get to have it both ways when you're outside of the SEC. So you can't say, oh, well, the SEC is destroying college football and Greg Sankey's a villain and they're doing all these terrible things and they want this and that, and that's not fair to us. But then at the same time, be that person in the conversation who's not helping college football. Like, that's the problem. Like, Greg is doing it his way and the SEC is going about it a certain way, but they are the ones at the front. And so I just, people, I guarantee when we get to the comments today are going to say, oh, well, Greg is, being a red ass here. Greg is, a know-it-all. Like, the SEC is terrible. Like, they're going to hate on this. But I have to say, like, maybe we're living up to it today. I respect the SEC. I respect what they've built. I, as a football fan, look forward to watching SEC football every week. I'd rather watch a mediocre-ass SEC game than watch, Utah play nobody. Like, I don't need to watch Utah versus Utah State to know how that game's going to go. I don't need to watch I don't need to watch Oklahoma State, K-State front to back to know how that game's going to go. We know how those games are going to go. But what did we say with the Georgia-Alabama game?
Don't miss a snap.
Don't miss a snap of that thing because you thought, hey, Georgia's defense is superior. I felt like, hey, it's at Bryant-Denny. Like, maybe there's a chance. And what did we get? We got an absolute classic.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, man. That's the difference.
Yeah, I think the hate for the SEC is exactly what sports is about. People hate the SEC because they're good. People hated Tom Brady and the Patriots because they were good. I hate the Kansas City Chiefs because they're good. I am somebody that very much believes hatred is great in sports. It's not so good in life, but it's great in sports.
Yeah.
And if somebody is as hated as the SEC, it's a tip of the cap. It's not an indictment. It's a tip of the cap. And I think if Notre Dame was in a conference, I would want Greg Sankey to be the commissioner of that conference. As simple as I can put it, because it is Greg Sankey and everybody else. It is not Tim Pernetti and everybody else, right? It's not Tony Petitti and everybody else.
Yeah.
It's Greg Sankey and everybody else. And if you're the Big Ten, absolutely, I would cozy up. Let's cuddle. Let's spoon, Greg. Let's put on our PJs, hop under the down comforter, light the fire, sip some champagne, get me some Dom, and let's cuddle up, bro.
Yeah,
because I want to be in bed with Greg Sankey. I believe that we should always be aspiring to win a championship. The Chicago Bears should always be playing to win a championship. They don't. The Cubs, don't even get me started. I want all of my sports teams. There's this NHL show. We were watching this clip, this Prime Video NHL show that's coming out. Connor McDavid losing his absolute mind in the Oilers locker room, screaming at the Oilers, saying it's not good enough. It's the NHL finals. It's the finals. That's what I want my captain to do. I want my teams to do that. I want my league to do that. I want my commissioner to do that. And you don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it. And if you're a fan of, and I know we have an enormous footprint in Big Ten country. If you're a fan of the Big Ten and you hate Greg Sankey, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
You don't get it. And if you are a fan of the Pac-12 or any other G5, if you're a fan of the ACC and you hate Greg Sankey, you don't get it. You should be pushing Jim Phillips. You should be pushing. It's what I love about Brett Yormark. I love that Brett Yormark operates in this space every day. And it's what I love about Brett Yormark. The guy wants to lop people's heads off. He wants to win everything. Not football, not basketball, everything. In the boardroom, on the court, the field, everything.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's what I love about Brett Yormark. I wish all of my teams operated like that.
Right.
All right. On a Football Friday, let's get your thoughts in here. It's been I wish Greg Sankey was making my Prize Picks selections because it's been a rough couple of days. And Pete Alonso with the New York Mets, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
You guys know on Wednesday I had Pete Alonso, and he did not do Dioc. He didn't do anything. What did he do last night? Hit a walk-off, pretty much a walk-off home run.
Yeah.
Hit a game-winning home run. But that's and then there's Jake.
Yeah.
How'd we do in Prize Picks last night,
dude.
Jake?
Excellent. 2 of 3. Made my money back. Had good old Kirk Cousins.
I warned you about Kirk Cousins last night.
Kirk Cousins.
Wait. Can we talk about Kirk real quick?
Yeah.
But his numbers were what? 5,600 yards just last night.
Yeah, he had 509 yards last night. Last night was
ridiculous.
Last night was what's his face? Old quarter Matt Ryan night.
Yep.
And Matt
Great
Ryan,
ceremony.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins comes out and breaks Matt Ryan's single game passing record with the Falcons last night on Matt Ryan night. And I told you guys, did I not say yesterday on the show, hey, Kirk Cousins, 47.5 passing yards in the first quarter, absolute lock. What did dude have in the first quarter? 109 yards. Pretty easy, dude. It's not difficult to understand. And then I got my guy last night in the playoff game, Francisco Lindor, for more than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs.
Another guy that I just...
Now, Jesse Winker, you're dead to me. You're dead to me. All I need you to do is have one base last night, and I'd have been 3-3, would have doubled my money, but no, not good enough.
I love Prize Picks for this exact reason. Prize Picks, download the app, use the promo code Monty. I think this weekend in the NFL, there's a lot of picking to do with the prizes at Prize Picks. You open up a new account, download the app, open up a new account. Prize Picks will give you $50 when you make a $5 deposit. All you do is deposit $5. They'll give you 50 more. It is amazing. I look at some of the passing yard numbers. I'm really curious about Andy Dalton.
The Red Rocket.
His number is 217.5 against the Chicago Bears. With Carolina, he has hit that the last 2 weeks against Cincinnati and Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of those defenses is on par with the beloved. And then there's my guy, Caleb Williams, who's 216.5.
What, no discount this week?
Who has a better week, Caleb Williams or Sam Darnold? Caleb Williams, or like Aaron Rodgers has Minnesota this week.
Jaden Daniels against the Browns at 211.5. That feels nice.
I would probably take more, but that's a very good defense. That Browns defense is better than people give them credit for.
Another good one, Derrick Henry, half a rushing or receiving touchdown on a goblin. That's a gimme.
Is this the week that Sam Darnold comes back to earth? 225 is his number. I think I would go less than that. I would go more on Caleb Williams, less on Darnold.
Yeah.
I would go less on Aaron Rodgers at 225. I would go more on Lamar. Lamar Jackson's only 207 yards and a half. There are some good numbers. This is what I love about Prize Picks. Pick it up, prizepicks.com, or download the app in the link below the description here on YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe, and then click the Prize Picks app. Link in the description below. You guys, you deposit $5 in a new account, they'll give you 50 more.
Yeah.
You can play the rest of the season. Yes, Mike Smith, the ginger gun. Go under on Dalton. I agree. I think the Bears are going to win that game. The Chicago Bears. And that's one of the games we're going to pick coming up during hour number 2 on the show. Panthers at the Bears. The Bears are -4 at home. Cannot wait. I think the toughest game to pick this week is Cowboys and Steelers.
Was just going to say Justin Fields' demon number for passing yards is only 224.5.
Against that defense with all those injuries, I think you got to take that.
Yeah.
I think you got to take that. All right, let's get to your comments right here on the Monty Show.
Now everybody says this is an SEC show.
That's right.
So I know that we're, you're fat old dying Mormon, and this is an SEC show. So let's make sure we live up to it. In the comments.
Don't forget that we're doing the show in your basement.
Yeah, in my basement that I don't have.
I love it. Thomas Reed for $10. The rest of the conferences should align. Refuse to schedule the SEC and the Big Ten. Let them play each other, make their own league and title, problem solve. Big Ten and SEC can become semi-pro. Here's the problem, though. The other leagues would disappear. The other leagues would be non-factors. Because are you watching who's the worst team in the Big 12? Houston football. Kansas football. Are you watching Kansas and Virginia play football?
Wow.
Or are you going to watch Ohio State and Georgia? Are you going to watch the big dogs? I'm going to watch the big dogs. And here's the other question. In that scenario, where do you think Notre Dame goes?
Not with everybody else.
Not going to keep scheduling the ACC in that situation, are you? You're not. You're going to start scheduling the SEC and the Big Ten. That's not how you win. With all due respect, Thomas, I totally disagree. I think if you want to black out the SEC and the Big Ten from your schedule, you're the one that's losing that. That's not the Big Ten and the SEC aren't losing that.
Yeah.
Because they're still going to have bigger contracts than you. They're going to make more money than you, and they're still going to play for national championships, and you're not.
Yep.
And that's the harsh reality of it. You don't have to like it. I get it. And Donuts, good morning. Is the SEC isolating themselves, though? I think they're doing the opposite. I think they are trying to force the hand of other conferences. And the thing I want you to listen to in this bite with Greg Sankey, and if you're just tuning into the show, we're talking about SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. He went on a podcast with Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer's the one that really started the conversation here. But listen to what he says about the Super League.
I don't want to dumb down the Southeastern Conference to be part of some Super League notion with 70 teams that some people speculate would happen. They want to be us, and that's on them to figure it out, not on me to bring myself back to earth.
Dude, I love it. But do you think Greg Sankey wants a Super League?
I think he wants a Super League, but I think he wants a proper makeup with the Super League. I don't think that he wants, everybody and their mom at from the power conferences in the Super League.
I would agree with that.
I think Greg, wants to have control to make up of the Super League, and I think he's going to get that. And to the question, is he isolating himself? No, I don't think it's possible for him to isolate himself because everyone needs the SEC. So the reality is what he's doing is cornering the market to an extreme extent and forcing people to do what he says to do. Like, what are you going to say? No. Like, what are you going to say?
What are you going to say? No.
Yeah. Like, what do you like? You know what I mean? So it's like, there's not much you're going to do about it. And that's why I'm saying like that's why I said earlier, he's sitting on top of his perch, enjoying that view and using the leverage that he's created. And that's fine. That doesn't make him a bad guy, but that's exactly what that is.
Yeah. I don't think he's isolating himself. I don't. And I think he does want the Super League. I think he definitely wants it. FABA Friday, ACC Commissioner, West Commissioner Gumby. Big weekend for Cal football. Mike Smith, hello, Mountain Mama. Good to see you as always. You don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it. One of those dumb sayings that people think is cool. I love it. You don't have, but it's true. And the reason I say it so often when it comes to these kind of conversations, you don't have to like it, but it is going to be your reality. You don't have to like it. But Greg Sankey is the preeminent voice in college football. You don't have to like it. But what Greg Sankey wants, generally, Greg Sankey gets. And when Greg Sankey speaks, everybody shuts up and listens.
Yes.
You don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it because it's your reality. And Greg Sankey is going to shape your future. And I just think that it is, I think it's going to be very difficult to get away from Greg Sankey or whoever the commissioner of the SEC is going to be. They're the most powerful voice in the room. And I know that pisses people off. Gee Lee, no one in the Big 12 should not be listening to Brett Yormark. Yet I hear regularly that there are some voices in this league that they know, and there is some people in this league who don't want innovation, that there is a lot of old thinking in the Big 12. And I think it largely is what, like the Texas conversation, and generally when I talk to college football people about Texas, and last year when they were leaving, and what did I always hear about? Well, Texas causes drama and their Longhorn Network. But was the Longhorn Network bad for college football? No, it was not.
Right.
No, it was not. And on some level, it was a trendsetter. Now, was the Longhorn Network as successful as BYU TV? No, it was not. But it wasn't ever meant to be somewhere where you're broadcasting every game. And when you look at the SEC network and the Big Ten network, where do you think all of those blueprints came from for what has now become success? I think Texas, you can hate Texas, but Texas never left and they're not back. They're simply still Texas.
Yeah.
And I think we hate people like, nobody's pissed at Oklahoma for leaving the Big 12. They're pissed at Texas. I understand it. This is not as strong as a league without Texas. You don't have to like Texas.
Got to respect them.
But they're a trendsetter. And when Texas speaks, people listen.
Yeah.
And when they're winning, their voice gets louder. And what Sark has built in Austin, phenomenal. Phenomenal. It is what it is. JC, your thoughts on UConn as a football only in the pack? It's a terrible idea. It's not a possibility.
No.
And if you want to watch the what's the right way to say it? If you want to watch history repeat itself in the Pac-12, they'll add UConn football. Simple as that. It's a disastrous idea. Eric and Raleigh, the SEC can't kill what's already dead. I think there's a lot to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot to that. You know, I am always amazed at hate in sports and what the genesis of it is. San Diego State, Glenn, again, what's worse, the red line when you look at the COVID test result, or the red line when you see your choice on Prize Picks is wrong?
Yeah, I hadn't made that correlation, but that's kind of funny.
The coronavirus.
I want nothing to do with. I'm so competitive.
Yeah.
ACC West Commissioner Gumby, Monty doing the Sankey slurp. Maybe that's what I am doing. The guy's earned it, every inch of it.
Well, this is an SEC show, so
you know, he's earned it. Jay Chapman, that would be suicidal for other conferences. Isolating. Yeah. Yes, indeed, it would. Thomas Reed, don't care about Notre Dame. You should. And Notre Dame's a really good example of this, too. Trust me, as a lifelong Notre Dame fan, I get a lot of crap about it. People hate Notre Dame, and why is that? Oh, they're getting a free pass. They've earned it. They've earned it. I didn't go to Notre Dame, but I've been a fan of Notre Dame for my entire life. Why is that? Well, regionally, when I was a kid, growing up in the 70s and 80s, graduating high school in the 90s.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Notre Dame was a massive brand and still is. Thankfully, Brian Kelly's gone. Now we just got to get rid of the guy who can't count past 10 and then hire a real coach, and we'll be a national brand again. A national power. Rick Forster. Houston's an embarrassment. Fritz sucks as a coach. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's been there 15 minutes. The guy's been, he's brand new.
You're hating, bro.
He's brand new.
You are hating.
The cupboard was bare. There wasn't much there. And I love Dana, but there's not much there. You know what I'm saying? Don Juan, Notre Dame is annoying. They're so force-fed to everyone. Okay. Force-fed to everyone. Is Notre Dame force-fed to everyone? They're a huge, huge moneymaker. That's at the end of the day. Let's be honest. Has Notre Dame won a big game in the last 75 years? No.
No.
It's probably an exaggeration. Has Notre Dame been relevant on a national championship level in a decade?
Yeah.
Really? Did they threaten Alabama?
They're always in the conversation, dude.
Did they? Okay, I agree with that.
Again, relevance is a very broad term. Did they have any?
Have they been a threat to win a national championship?
I mean,
on the
probably
football
not.
field?
No, but again, when game day is sitting here picking, Notre Dame to beat Alabama, they're relevant. They are relevant.
I would agree they're relevant. Have they been a threat to win any game of consequence? I mean, they do have Riley Leonard, the guy that's always hurt and doesn't really
Duke is
throw the
Duke.
ball well.
Duke is Duke.
Who are you, Alex Orji?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that was probably a low blow. G. Lee, we need a salary cap or we cannot compete.
You're not going to get a salary cap, dude. You're
no.
There's going to be, the SEC and the Big Ten are going to break off into their own thing. I would guess the G5 is going to set up their own national championship, if you will, and we'll just go about our business.
But to Greg Sankey's point, should the SEC spend less money because the others can't afford to spend more? Should the SEC not pay as much to college football players because the other conferences can't pay the same amount?
No, but I think that the SEC has a responsibility to have some dignity about it and say, hey, okay.
The SEC has a responsibility to win games and make money.
Yeah.
You
You don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to be the best conference in the land and just ignore the implications of your behavior. So
I don't disagree with that. I think that's exactly right.
You have on some level, not saying you got to pay their bills or carry them or whatever, but you at a minimum have to appreciate the fact that, okay, if we go and create a super league that's only us and the Big Ten,
69 other teams, because notice what Greg Sankey said.
He doesn't want to do 70 teams.
But notice what he said. He put a number out there into the ethos. That was, am I the only one catching this? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm making too much of this. I'll go back and play the video again. Do you think it's accidental that he said 70? I would bet if he could go back on the Triple Option podcast with Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, and a TV talking head, listen to what Greg Sankey says about a super league.
I don't want to dumb down the Southeastern Conference to be part of some super league notion with 70 teams that some people speculate would happen. They want to be us, and that's on them to figure it out, not on me to bring myself back to earth.
The question was that this line came in a series of comments he made. And the question was, does college football...
Urban Meyer asked him,
Is college football in need of a commissioner?
And
that was
would
the question.
You want the job? And to just casually toss out a 70-team Super League is not just casually tossing that out. He's either frustrated with it, or I think he probably got carried away talking ball with his boys. Because him and Urban Meyer are very close friends, unsurprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and it's what I tell you guys on the show all the time when we talk about a Super League, it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, but when and how many teams. That guy, the czar of college football, just said 70 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about underselling the lead. The guy just said 70 teams in a Super League.
Yeah, I mean, I think he also said that he doesn't want to devalue the SEC.
I think he did say that.
So he said 70, but that's not any indication whether it'll be 70 or not. I think that's just him saying like, hey, people have reported or speculated about this. But again, the conversation is yes, the SEC shouldn't have to do less because others can't do more. I agree with that. But I also agree with the fact that you can't just do whatever the hell you want and not worry about, the implications for the guy downstream.
Why are you upset? Jake gets this certain tone.
Because
hold on. Jake gets this certain tone when we're talking sports. You can always hear it in his voice when Jake is always fairly relaxed, right? It takes a lot to get him turned. I hear it in your voice, so I'm asking you, what are you upset about?
I don't care who asked him the question. I
think it's incredibly relevant.
Why is it relevant?
Because that's Urban Meyer.
Who's what in college football?
An icon of the last decade.
He's
at Ohio State and at Florida. And he is a villain as well. No, there's no doubt. Urban Meyer's not one of the good guys in college football. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
But the flipping guy wins. He's a winner. And he's one of the greatest winners of his generation. From Bowling Green to Utah to Florida to Ohio State, the guy wins. And so he's not just casually asking questions. That was a purposeful question he asked.
Mm-hmm.
And you should, it's on my Twitter feed. Go watch the interview with him.
It's a great listen. For
It
sure.
is I agree.
Yeah, it's a great
fascinating
listen.
conversation. I think it matters that Urban is talking to him about the structure of college football. They're asking him about, would you want the job as commissioner? They're asking him, how much is too much NIL? And I think that matters. And I think the reason that Urban Meyer is so vitally important is he was the sheriff in the Wild Wild West before NIL even ever got here. And knowing how, I know a dozen guys that played for Urban Meyer, and knowing how Urban Meyer operated, he was a tough SOB. This is the same Urban Meyer at Utah who put BYU logos on the floor and BYU logos in their toilets and urinals at Utah. Urban Meyer's the same guy who every exit interview told pretty much every player on the bottom 75% of his roster at Utah, you're not going to be here next year. I'm going to rip your scholarship because you're just not good enough to play on my team. That's who we're talking about. Who did everything you had to do to win. And including at Florida with the felons and the Chris Rainey's and the Aaron Hernandez's, and including domestic violence and that whole scandal at Ohio State.
Yeah, and that's my problem. See, that's my problem. I'm unwilling, and it's a me thing, and I'm happy to be a hater. I'm unwilling to give Urban Meyer any sense of credit for the football field because of how many lives you destroyed.
And listen, I'm not telling you that Urban Meyer's a good guy. I'm just simply saying, based on who Urban Meyer is and what he's done and accomplished in college football, he didn't accidentally ask a question that led to Greg Sankey, one of his best friends in the world, sitting there saying 70-team Super League.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I absolutely agree that.
Come on.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. But you asked me why it's frustrating. It's frustrating because
you hate Urban.
Because I don't want to give Urban Meyer credit, dude. I don't want to be associated with Urban Meyer. I don't want to give him any more credit than he deserves. So let's add to the hater list. Yeah. Hey, you tried to do TV and you burned out because
he's still doing TV.
Nobody wants to see you, dude. You're the guy that went into your bar and had some 20-something on your lap. Like, it's not a great look, dude.
Again, he's not the husband of the year. He's one of the greatest football coaches in the history of college football. Whether you want him to be or not, is he a scandal guy? He is a scandal guy. Anyway, we're probably off the topic.
No,
the point
is, It's not the conversation isn't to go back into Urban Meyer's history. You asked why I got frustrated. I got frustrated because I don't like, you're not wrong, but I don't want to sit here and talk about, well, Urban Meyer and Sankey are, working together on a podcast to start putting this stuff out into the world. I agree that Greg Sankey is miles ahead of what anybody in the comments section is even thinking about. Greg Sankey has information that we don't have. He's already scheming. He's already way ahead of the curve.
He's made decisions that are going to impact your football team, and you haven't even thought about them yet.
Exactly. And so it's this whole thing where it just, I think that too often we do that in college football. It's this Antonio Pierce 8-game show or 8-year show cause thing. Michigan fan wants to be in here over the winter telling us that Jim Harbaugh is just going to get off scot-free. Antonio Pierce recruited everybody or violated every recruiting rule in the book. And Herm did the same thing. And now those guys are getting taken to the woodshed.
If you didn't see it yesterday, Antonio Pierce, the former assistant coach under Herm Edwards at Arizona State, was given an 8-year show cause penalty, and the moment he's hired, he's serving a 1-year suspension. If he ever takes another job in college football, which we would all probably agree, that ain't happening. Because of COVID period recruiting violations. And
you're talking about
years.
I just want to put this into perspective to make my point. You're talking about Urban Meyer asking the most powerful man in college football a question about whether he'd want the job as commissioner of all of college football, which leads to this clip we've been playing. And then us talking about Urban Meyer and all the just awful things that he did in his time in college football. And then I look over here and Antonio Pierce, who I respected as a player. I actually really liked his game.
Good linebacker.
Really good linebacker, nice career. But you took parents of recruits to a strip club. You had your staffers take them to a strip club. You had those kids come out and practice in person when you damn well knew that was against the rules.
8 years.
So you got 8 years, you got 1 year, and now I'm sitting here saying, hey, once again, I get to sit here and have a conversation about Urban Meyer, Jim Harbaugh,
Antonio Pierce,
like all these dudes who are phenomenal. And this is what my ultimate point here is. All these dudes in college football are really good at college football. They can coach the hell out of a player. They can get the best out of them. But then 20 years later or 30 years later, when their coaching career's been done, they get the opportunity to talk to the most powerful guy in college football. And in my opinion, I would agree with you, have an idea of like, hey, we want to get Greg to say something. We want to get him in a mindset to try to talk about something.
Urban Meyer I think it bothers people that Urban Meyer still has influence over college football.
It's ridiculous.
And he does.
It's crazy.
All right, let's get to the comments section because Thomas Reed is paying us a lot of money to vent. $10 more. Super League still ices the rest. So they might as well take control of their own destiny and not play by the SEC and the Big 12's rules. Make their own. People will watch at a level they already do. That's never going to happen. What I understand that you would like to see whoever your team is, Thomas, never play the Big 10 or the SEC. That's bad for your football team's business.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. It does not matter. Tell me that NIU shouldn't be playing Notre Dame.
Well, it's that old joke, like the NIU Notre Dame one's a good one because it's what did everyone say after that win? Oh, Notre Dame paid NIU
$1.5 million or whatever it was.
And NIU can't, like, it's bad for your team or your school or your athletic department not to play in those big games.
Yeah, I just, with all due respect, I disagree with you 100%. He pays us $10 more to say not hating on the SEC or the Big Ten, but a Super League ices out the majority of non-AQs anyway.
But aren't they already iced out?
It has nothing to do with the Super League, and it has everything to do with the NIL lawsuits that still are not settled. You again, I just had this conversation like Tuesday or Wednesday. Most athletic departments will have to add a minimum of $100 million in expenses to facilitate being in a power league. And I just don't know how many G5s can afford that. Look at Sacramento State. Sacramento State wants to jump up and be in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to pay probably $50 million in extra costs for the next many years to do that. You're going to add probably $100 million more to that? That's just not possible for you. It's going to be very difficult even for a school like Boise State, Fresno State, the better G5 programs.
Yeah.
To add $100 million in expenses to support 20% revenue sharing, to support NIL dollars, to support all of the infrastructure and cost. So you're talking about a super league icing people out. Do you know how many people don't want to pay to be in a super league? So why should we punish Ohio State, the number one revenue generating program in the country? Why should we punish Ohio State? Because a lot of other programs can't financially compete with what they've built. We should not. That's not American. That's not capitalism. That's not what we do.
Right.
And I don't have any problem with the Super League. I don't. Their fans still watch them, so they might as well control their own destiny. That seems inevitable anyway. There is not an athletic director. If the phone rings and it's Alabama who's got a $1 million check, do you think Appy State's turning down any? Truly, Appy State, Liberty, you name it.
Dude, you're forgetting about the most important one, Abilene.
Abilene. Do you think Abilene shouldn't play Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Texas? Do you know how good that is for Abilene? They're getting a payday. They're able to recruit. Look at the storyline around Abilene and Texas Tech this year.
Yeah.
In that shootout. Oh, well, they had all our former players. How do you think they got there? It just, again, with all due respect, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just disagree with you. Passionately disagree with you. Michael Anderson, our newest member.
Let's go, Michael.
Michael, welcome to the membership. I appreciate you. Hillbilly Skeptic. I like that. For $5, Super League is a must. You can't give $70 million a year to Illinois and Rutgers and stiff FSU and Clemson. The Big only has one good team, and that doesn't cheat.
But again,
Ouch.
the FSU Clemson victimhood at some point has to come to an end, because you don't get a free pass for tearing down your conference through litigation.
No, you don't get a free pass for making bad business decisions. Which signing that grant of rights, not once, but twice in the ACC, that's a bad business decision.
And by the way, why were you in the ACC from the beginning? Because you thought natties would be easier through the ACC.
Bobby Bowden did an interview, and we used to have the clipping of it, not the audio, but a transcript of it. Bobby Bowden said we could have joined the SEC, but we felt like it was an easier path to the national championship in the ACC. So that's why Florida State went to the ACC instead of the SEC. You made a business decision, and it's backfired on you. I think we all can agree with that. The stadium guy, James, we need a Super League of 4 conferences, 20 teams, so it's not a Big Ten SEC monopoly. Big 12, add North Texas, UTSA. Okay. The Super League is not going to be built like that. And I think we have been pretty accurate on this. The Super League, in my opinion, is going to be probably, Greg Sankey said 70 teams right there. Call it 70 teams. It's going to be an NFL-style model.
Yeah.
On a larger scale. And I still maintain, I think you're going to have the national championship of college football on a Saturday. And then the next day, Sunday, is Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a very similar playoff tier. Did you guys win enough games? Okay, cool. You're in the playoffs. Oh, you didn't? Okay, you're out. Plain and simple. No more Florida State without a quarterback. No more.
Yeah.
Too many SEC teams. Did you win enough games? Okay, you're in. You're the wild cards. You're out. You lost.
And that's what makes the NFL so good, because I also think something no one ever talks about with that type of setup is think about the Cinderella story victories in the NFL that we've seen over the years. Like, hey, this underdog is in the divisional round and their quarterback got hurt, but they still found a way to go out and win because they're running back or this. Like we don't get that dynamic in college football a whole lot right now, because it's unclear if you win, does that actually push you forward? And that's where I think that other side of the conversation from that standpoint is really important. And I think if you guys want to talk about whether teams are iced out or whether it's a SEC or Big Ten monopoly, you're not thinking big enough here. It's already an SEC or Big Ten monopoly. It's already
who gets the 5-star recruits, who gets the best,
who's making the money.
Again, my guy Will Howard.
Yeah.
Why did Will Howard go to Ohio State? Or excuse me, the Ohio State. Why did he? Because he wants to win a national championship. Can Will Howard win a national championship? And please,
Monty,
don't lose your mind. Was Will Howard ever going to win a national championship at K-State?
No. Oh.
Do they have access? They do. Do they have the talent and the coaching and the infrastructure? They don't. They don't. You're not getting Ryan Day and Chip Kelly at K-State. You're not getting a $200 million profit and a $200 million budget at K-State. You're not getting the horseshoe. You're not getting one of the best fan bases. You're every game on national TV. That's why you go to Ohio State. That's why the portal guys are able. Why did anybody go to Colorado? Not to win a national championship, but why did they go to Colorado? Because they knew they were going to be on TV and they wanted to play for Prime and they want to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not rocket science. I know you guys don't like it. I know you don't. And I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. You want to win a national championship? You're going to play for any of the top half teams in the SEC. And really, you're going to Ohio State, Oregon, USC. How many teams in the Big Ten really have a chance to win a national championship?
Right now, today, I would say one.
And it's probably only Ohio State.
Yeah. I think, and, again, Michigan fans going to be all upset about that, but I don't really include Michigan in the national powerhouse program list because it was a one year thing. Even let's just throw all the cheating stuff aside, right? I'm not even referencing that. Throw all that to the side. Just look at the program from an X's and O's stats perspective. You've had 1 year and that's it.
Yeah. The Chad Carter. Jake, you okay? You're getting real upset about someone who doesn't impact the sport. Are you out of your mind?
He does. That's
Urban
my
Meyer.
problem, bro.
This is a reference to the Urban Meyer conversation.
He absolutely does.
You really don't think Urban Meyer impacts college football?
I can't believe that you don't, Chad. It's unbelievable to me that you don't think Urban Meyer impacts college football. This dude has access to Greg Sankey. What do you mean he doesn't impact college football? I understand. I'm with you that, hey, maybe he's not on the sideline. He's not blowing the whistle anymore. Okay. And I agree with that. But maybe, just maybe, it's slightly worse now because he's got access to the biggest figures. He is able to have these conversations.
Does Jimbo Fisher impact college football anymore?
Holy cow,
no,
bro.
Jimbo does not. Does Urban Meyer? I'm telling you that before he took the Jacksonville job, which I think did tremendous damage to him, he could have had any college football job he wanted. And it's because his relationships are vast and deep inside of college football. You didn't know until I told you today, until he told us 3 years ago, I think is the first time I saw Greg Sankey and Urban Meyer together. But nobody thinks that Urban Meyer and Greg Sankey, or nobody thinks about them being best friends. Many people know it. Nobody thinks about that. But do you really think that Greg Sankey and Urban Meyer haven't had a conversation offline at a sports bar in the comfort of their own home, sipping a whiskey, talking about what's the right structure for a super league?
And why is that? And this is my point. Why is it that Urban Meyer and Greg Sankey are close because Urban Meyer dominated in the SEC for several years, had one of the best Florida teams we've ever seen.
It's Nick Saban.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right?
Mediocre people don't like high achievers.
Yeah, and high achievers don't like mediocre people.
Urban Meyer's not hanging out with Jimbo Fisher. Urban Meyer's hanging out with Greg Sankey. The elites hang out with the elites.
And again, notice what have I said about Urban? I'm not disputing the dude can put together the original BCS Buster. He can put together a national championship.
His ability in college
team.
football is not in question.
It's not in question. But my problem is, and this comment, Chad, with all due respect, is incredible to me.
And you're an Ohio State guy. You're the Ohio State guy on the show.
I am shocked that you think this dude has no impact on college football
anymore. Of all of the Ohio State fans that listen to this show,
yeah.
and we have many, we were looking at our analytics yesterday.
Yeah.
We generally do a lot of business analyzing. Do you guys understand that the state of Ohio now is number 3 on this show?
But we're an SEC show, so careful. Careful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Careful.
You understand that Ohio, OH, is how awesome was Will Howard doing the OH? Come on. You understand that Ohio, we have a massive Ohio State fan base on this show. And the Chad Carter probably is the most known guy, especially now that he has working well water at his home. He was without water at his home for weeks. It was terrible. Yeah. You're probably one of the first Ohio State fans to watch this show. And you saying that is kind of surprising. Fat old Mormon and dying. Sankey is our dark lord and master.
God bless.
Hey, man.
Hoffman, hello. If all we care about is money and TV ratings, then remove the schools and actually get the best players regardless of eligibility. Well,
but again, that wouldn't work. And I don't even disagree with
I don't know what you mean, remove the school.
Well, what he's saying is if all we care about is TV and ratings and money, let's just treat football like the NFL. Like, screw the NCAA portion, screw the educational portion.
Oh, that's pretty much what we're doing.
Right? Like, Ryan Williams, the receiver at Alabama, 17 years old and just became a superstar overnight. We're heading in that direction.
Yes.
Without it being publicly stated. And that's the thing. That's why I say like guys like Urban Meyer or any of those huge names that as much as I hate to say it and it annoys the hell out of me, are icons. Like, they do affect change. They do.
Absolutely. Thomas Reed, $10 more. Thank you, Thomas. I'm a Maryland fan. I'm saying the rest can't afford to compete, so they should go their own way. Schedule a game for cash. Okay, make their own league division, and title is an answer. I don't think there's any doubt, Thomas, that you're the only Maryland fan in the country. I think I could be wrong. I'm kidding. I don't think there's any doubt that the G5, the lower level FBS, is contemplating their existence.
Do you know what that's like these days?
And I don't think there's any doubt that you look at leagues like the AAC and the Mountain West that are under siege right now. They're absolutely partnering and cavorting over what's next and how do we avoid this in the future. So I think they are talking about things like championships.
Yeah.
Calford gifts 20 Monty Show members.
Let's go, baby.
Thank you, Calford. Appreciate that. In total memberships, I think we're pushing 1,000 now because Calford has given so many memberships.
Yeah.
We are at 500 organic. We were at like 500 organic and 200 gifted before Calford started this run of awesomeness.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you, Calford.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Good to see you this morning. The buff, Monty, you're smarter than that. I'm really not. Really not. Fat old Mormon and dying. Every team in the new Super League gets an upper deck at their stadium for the stadium guy, James. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Jay McClanahan. Jay, good morning. Monty, how many teams do you feel will make it, and will teams like Rutgers and Vandy be there?
See, and
that's a good question.
Again, quality educational institutions, right? Like nobody is saying, these schools don't have it in that area, but does adding Rutgers and Vandy and, these real low end barely in the Power 5 conference schools, does that dilute the water for the SEC? And I do think it's a really fascinating question, because I can see on one hand how Greg would feel that way, but I can also see on another hand how, hey, you need these schools for scheduling purposes and to balance the sheet. So how does that work? And that's what I think when I say, hey, Greg's thinking about things that haven't even crossed your mind. Those are things that I think he's already considering.
Well, and this is probably our reality now. This is an Upper Deck homer show.
You're a homer is the first part.
See what you've done to us, Oak State, James?
Yeah.
With all this Upper Deck talk?
Yeah.
The Monty Show, as always, presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. Let's start picking games and continuing this conversation. You guys, as always, please hit the like button while you listen to this from The Advocates.
When you've been injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. You deserve an advocate.
Quality, risk-free legal advice. That's what you get from The Advocates at theadvocates.com, where you can chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365. Make sure that you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. They're good people to do business with, friends, and I encourage you, get out, enjoy your life, live that best life. But, man, when the worst happens, you need somebody to fight for you. That's The Advocates at theadvocates.com. A couple more comments tonight. We got to get to picking some games. As light as it is this week, there are some good ones. Calford. Well, I started I stand by my promise to teach Monty how to read. Well, I stand by my promise. If we were to win by some miracle, 100 Marty Show memberships will be given away by Calpura.
Yeah.
Calpura?
A lot on the line for you, dude. And I think there's a lot on the line for Miami this week, bro.
100%. Miami at Cal. We're going to talk about that game. Thank you, Calford, Jimmy says. Ferris Khan, Michigan 31, Washington 12. Alex Orji, guy, 150 yards. Here's what I'm trying to figure out. Why does Michigan fan do this to himself? Alex Orji is a guy who has a career high 86 yards passing.
Here I am.
And you think he's just all of a sudden, Alex Orji's just going to break out and double his all-time career in-game passing, single-game passing number, which is 86. Against Washington in Seattle. Why do you do this to yourself? This is no penalties. Nobody knew Connor Stallions was a lone wolf. This is Jim Harbaugh staying at Michigan. This is like,
what are you, nuts?
Michigan fan is so predictable.
Yeah.
You're just so predictable. Calford says you're welcome, Jimmy. Michael Anderson, Cal fan, but am I really? I'm more invested in realignment than Cal season. I wish for a border down Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, 3 divisions, pro rel, F everyone else. Wow. I love it. I love that. And donuts, I can't compete with Calford. I'm relegated. I can't.
Regulators.
Go back to bed, Monty. Main event, Calford, the real MVP.
It's true, bro.
Absolutely. I'm rooting for Cal 100% because of Calford. I appreciate that. ACC West Commissioner Gumby, be a homer and hit the like button. Yeah, where are we at today?
You're a homer is the first part.
Yeah, homer. Well over 1,000 views, 61 likes.
Come on, step it up, man. Get us to 100 before the show's over. You've got
Get us to 100 in the next 5 minutes.
49 minutes. Like, let's go.
Look at that. Brandon Butler gives 5 more Monty Show members.
Let's go, dude.
Brandon Butler, appreciate that. The Says Dog, RFCC Radio Audio. Okay. Nathan Robertson, John Pearson, and Helgo.
Nice.
All gifted memberships. Appreciate that. Thank you, Brandon Butler. Ahmad Al-Mabashir getting ads on YouTube. Dude.
Well, what do you think this is? The Pac-12? We got to play ads, bro.
Wow. Well, YouTube plays ad because our show does quite well.
Yeah.
So that's why. Nathan Roberson, yo, shout out Brandon. G Lee says I did my part. Let's go. Yes, hit the like button. We appreciate that. 70 likes, 30 to go.
Keep it going.
Dude, 30 to go here on the Monty Show. Let's start picking games. You guys in college football this week, what do you think is the game of the week? Because it's a pretty light schedule. I think there's one. It's Iowa at Ohio State. CBS and Paramount Plus.
Man, just so excited for Paramount Plus.
The Ohio State is 18. And I want to see if that number can be bought down. 18.5 points. That seems like a big number. I feel like
that's lighter than I texted you it was last night. Did that not move?
It moved a little bit. It moved a little bit.
Wow.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
That number, the composite number on that game,
I thought it was like 22.5.
Is 20.5. ESPN bets got it at 18.5. I don't see how Iowa stays here. And I think that they're going to have to throw the ball a lot to beat Ohio State because Ohio State's just better than you offensively.
Yeah.
And I see you have the number up. What are you looking at?
This number started at -24 for Ohio State. So it's definitely trickling down towards Iowa.
Okay. I think that there are some things that Iowa would have to, first of all, you'd have to be perfect. No turnovers. You'd have to convert on third down, and you'd have to throw the ball without throwing interceptions, which against this defense is going to be very difficult for Iowa to do. Any chance, Jake, any chance in your estimation Iowa wins this game?
No chance. I think what you're going to see out of this game for Ohio State is Quinshon Judkins going to have a big game. I think they're going to ride him. I think that Ohio State has the luxury of having a quarterback who can stand back there and deliver. So what they can do is they can run the football a lot early, gauge your defense, see what your defense does, see how you react. I've seen them run a little bit of RPO to kind of throw the defenses off a little bit just to see. And then that's after that process takes place through the first two possessions, then Will Howard kind of goes to work. So in this game, do I think Iowa has a chance? No. And I like the 20-point number a lot. I like Ohio State dominating this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a 35-10 kind of game, because I agree with you that Ohio State defense is incredibly fast and talented.
Yeah, and Iowa's better this year. Their offensive line is actually very good. Ohio State's going to sell out to stop the run because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Iowa's not going to throw the ball down the field here. And I only put lipstick on this pig because it's the Ohio State, and I think this starts a run for Ohio State.
Yes.
Of games where we're going to find out who you are.
Well, I look at Ohio State and obviously light schedule so far, but I like to compare Iowa State or Ohio State to Texas in the sense that Texas has shown us, hey, we can play this team, that team, go through a difficult stretch, suffer all the injuries, suffer quarterback injuries and still be good and still come out the other side as a championship contender. And I would agree for Ohio State, this is where that run for them begins. And that's why I'm picking so heavy in favor of Ohio State, because I know for a fact with the pressure that's on Ryan Day, he's got this team dialed up and ready, and they have proper expectations inside that locker room. They know, hey, we got to go out and beat the hell out of this team and start this run on a positive note.
Well, and I also think, obviously, with Travion Henderson coming back and Quinshon Judkins coming in, you're going to be able to control the clock in this game. I think you've got I don't know that anybody gives Jeremiah Smith enough credit for being the quality wide receiver he is. And I know everybody talks about Egbuka, as they should. Quality. Yeah. I mean, really, Jeremiah Smith, in my opinion, is the most important receiver on this team because Egbuka is going to get most of the attention. And I think when you have an arm like Will Howard, a guy that can run and throw, I don't see any way Iowa stays in this game. I've got it somewhere in the line of 38-10, 38. You might get an extra field goal in there. I think this is 38-13. You guys, I can't find a way to believe that Iowa wins this game. I think 38-13 is probably where I would go.
And I've got a 38-10 without any turnovers from Iowa. I think that it's just an outright dominant performance. And if you turn it over, now I think you're flirting with the 40s.
I think the only reason that they could score a little more here, Iowa, is because their offensive line is so good and they can run the clock.
Yeah.
And so I could see Iowa possessing the ball a little more, and maybe that limits these opportunity to score. I think Ohio State's going to have to really struggle not to score 30 points in this game. It is having that twin turbo V6 and not speeding. We all know that that's not really possible.
Speeding? I would never.
Me?
What?
I just don't see a way. I don't see a way that the Ohio State scores under 30 points in this game.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't. Tanner Plummer of Cal loses. Calford needs to do something crazy like eat horse manure or something.
Okay. All right.
Come on, man. What are you talking about? Mike Smith, get YouTube Premium. If you watch a good deal of YouTube, it's well worth to get rid of the ads.
It
Yes,
actually absolutely is worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Ahmad says if Iowa wins, it would be huge for Iowa State. Oh my God. With that win earlier in the year, that would absolutely. I think Iowa State is the most disrespected football team in the country, maybe, because they get no respect at all.
Nope.
Nobody pays attention. Nobody gives a damn. Just a little old Ames, Iowa over here.
Yep.
And I think they are one of the least respected football teams in the country. I think Iowa State right now, as I said during our power rankings the other day, I think Iowa State's the best team in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Now, Fingergate at Utah is going to have a big determining factor on that. But right now, yeah. Illumindursky, hello. Vanderbilt is the longtime gatekeeper of the SEC. Only if you beat them can you have a shot at any championship. Exactly. Fat old Mormon and dying. Can't believe there are only one ranked matchup this week.
It's one of those weeks, man, where it's not a. This is the week, and I try to make a comment like this every week. Like as a college football fan, hey, you go watch this game or be around this week, or like this week, yeah, you can skip Saturday this week. You'll be
smaller
fine, dude.
brands. The Missouri Texas A&M game. They're smaller brands, and it is
like that'd probably be a good game if you're a college football fan, just generally.
And it's at Kyle Field, so
it's going to be
a good game. I'm a believer in Missouri.
Louisville will be a good game. You know, SMU's got the offense to hang in that game, but it's SMU Louisville. Like
not to be Monty, slurp that Sankey slurpage.
Yeah,
Auburn Georgia is a compelling game.
It is.
Georgia's got to come out and stomp Auburn,
and they will.
That's a compelling. That game's far more compelling than A&M and Missouri.
You're not going to Athens after Georgia just lost the game of the year on their schedule.
Well, and you look at the impact that this hurricane's had on the Carolinas and the southeast corridor of this country.
Yeah,
you think that Ole Miss South Carolina game is going to have any attention paid to it? I think it will. College football, I'm hoping this weekend and the weekends to come can be a distraction for so many people. This is the worst storm I think I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
The damage this has done.
They're saying it's like unconfirmed deaths are the most we've ever seen. Like people are just straight up missing.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a light week.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a light week. And it's rough. So I'm feeling you there. Michigan at Washington.
Yeah.
Seattle. Washington, Husky Stadium, -1.5, 41.5, 4:30 p.m. on NBC. What do we think Michigan's offense can do here? Because I think that is the big question here. Am I too hard on Alex the Orgy?
I mean, I don't think you're too hard on him.
Nothing?
No, because I'm a grown-up. I'm the grown-up in the room, okay? I'm not playing your games. That was actually pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're too hard on him. I think that that I think that Michigan fan wants this guy to be something that he's just not, and that's okay. Like Alex Orji is not a passing quarterback, and that's okay. But the problem is that Washington is just not a great team this year. They're mediocre. They're average. They're in year one with Jed Fish. Not surprising is what it is. So, what should we expect out of Orji in this game? I think they're going to run all over Washington. I think that Washington is, again, mediocre. And I think, the real problem is going to come in when you start running the option and Washington over pursues, because I think Washington this year, and this will improve as Jed builds his program and brings his guys in and does whatever head coach does. But I just don't think that Washington's defense is going to be up to snuff with the size of Michigan. And I think that Orji, this could be a pretty big game for him.
Shut up.
I hate it, but it's the truth. Like, I hate it, but
Here's the thing that everybody's forgetting about Washington and Michigan. That onside kick was recovered by Minnesota. And had it been officiated correctly, Michigan's losing that game.
Mm-hmm.
And 3-2 is a hell of a lot different than 4-1.
Right.
Maybe I will be wrong. Washington is fighting for its season here, because if you look at Washington's schedule and you start to understand that Washington, who is 3-2 right now, and in a position where you've lost to Washington State and Rutgers and you beat Northwestern, this is a must win, because it's Michigan, at Iowa, at 5-0 Indiana, home for USC, at Penn State, UCLA, at Oregon. Are you getting another win this year? If you lose this game this weekend, Jed Fish's season is a disaster. If you lose this game this weekend, you're going to be hard-pressed to win another game.
Yeah.
That's what's on the line for Washington this week. And as much as I like Jed, it was a mistake to leave Arizona. It was a mistake. There's no other way around that. But that mistake now is your reality. And this is where we find out who this Washington team is. You're at home in a place where now we wonder if it's a home field advantage at all, because you lost to Washington State. And I think everybody wants to hype this game up. Oh, Monty, it's a repeat of the national championship. No, it's not. No, it's not. These are very different teams with very different coaches and very different offenses.
100%.
Michigan is not a good football team right now.
Yeah. Name on the front's the same. Name on the back is very different.
I think, and this is just my opinion, I think that Michigan has a very good chance to win this game. Rutgers ran all over Washington, 5.5 yards a carry. Can't do that if you're going to beat Michigan. Michigan can do one thing well offensively, and you know what it is. They're going to run the football.
Yep.
They're going to run the football because Alex Orji cannot throw you to a victory. He's not capable. He's not a college football quarterback.
And maybe they deserve credit because you damn well know he can't throw it, and he's still beating you. Like, I mean, this is the Avery Johnson discussion, right? Like that Alex Orji is not going to go out here and throw for 300 yards or 200 yards or even 150 yards, most likely. And you still seemingly can't prevent them from scoring touchdowns.
Simply put, does Michigan run for a touchdown?
Yes.
If they do, they win the game.
Multiple touchdowns, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I think that Alex Orji is going to have to throw. I don't think 150 yards passing wins this game. He's going to be looking at 8-9 guys down in the box, because Washington's not going to allow you to run for 190 yards like Rutgers did. They're going to sell their souls to stop the run against Michigan. And I think Jed Fish is going to be ready. I think that if you look at what you have seen, Michigan is giving up 225 yards at a minimum in every game. Every single game. No one has been more consistent than Will Rogers at Washington. He is making 75% of his throws complete. Michigan's been beat through the air. Michigan has been beaten through the air. He does generally not throw interceptions. I don't believe he's thrown an interception this year. And I'm just asking, Michigan's going to go on the road for the first time all season. This will be the first time that this passing attack really gets exposed. This is a Washington win. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to come down to one or two plays and who makes more mistakes. And Alex Orji is going to have to throw them to a win, and he's just not capable. 24-17 Washington.
My biggest concern in this game is tackling for Washington's defense. It's year one under Jed. They haven't been great. Obviously they've been in games, but one thing we always know about Michigan is the size they bring. They're notorious for having a big offensive line. And that's no different this year. And I think that offensive line is not last year's offensive line with the cohesiveness and the chemistry and the way they played together, which gave them a huge edge against a ton of teams. But they do have size. And what concerns me is, okay, if you have size up front, that means that your defensive linemen are not going to make a huge impact when it comes to tackling Orji or the backs. It's going to be on your linebackers. It's going to be on your safety. So I agree with you 100%. We're going to get 8-9 guys in the box most of the game. But are we really having 8-9 guys in the box? Or what is it really? Is it really, hey, Orji and the backs are going to play RPO, and Orji's just going to make that read all game, and the safeties and the linebackers are going to have to play, catch me if you can 5 yards down the field. And that's what concerns me. That is the part that concerns me. So for me, I do think Washington's going to lose this game. And I think it's going to be a 1-point win for Michigan. And it's only going to be a 1-point win because Michigan's going to possess the ball so much. And it's going to be a low-scoring game. And Washington just simply is not going to make enough plays, in my opinion.
I think when you look at Washington's defense, it's a top 5 unit in the Big Ten. They're 4th in tackles. They tackle well. And looking at the rushing numbers, Michigan is 4th in the Big Ten in rushing yards, 2nd in the Big Ten in rushing attempts.
Yeah.
I don't think they run the ball as well as everybody wants to give them credit for. And I look at the fact that they're 2nd in attempts and 4th in yards per game. I'm telling you right now, Washington has the defense to win this game because Michigan doesn't have the quarterback. 24-17.
The other thing to consider, too, is time of day they're playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously 7:30 Eastern time kick. So kind of a, sort of an oddball time for Michigan to be playing a football game. So
Michigan doesn't play many late games.
Yeah. So I'm a big believer when we're talking about the Michigans and the Ohio States and those Big Ten teams that, those guys typically don't play those late games. So we'll see. We'll see. But I still maintain this game is going to be decided by Washington's defense. If they tackle and, they live up to those stats you were just talking about, then they probably win the game. But I'm just not confident that they are going to just, come out here and suffocate this running attack. I think the running attack is too effective. And I also think if you're out there, man, if Washington's defense is out there for, 40 snaps in the first half, 50 snaps, that doesn't bode well for the second half. So
I think just looking at some of these numbers, I look at the way that Michigan runs. I think Michigan's rush offense is a bit overrated. And a lot of it is the statistics are painted on a team that has not been able to throw the football. So they've consistently faced 8-9 guys down in the box because they're getting a lot of single high because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I would. And when you're facing a lot of zeros, which means the safety's down and you've got, you're in a 2-man pattern, you've got 9 guys in the box. Why wouldn't you? Because the quarterback can't beat you one-on-one.
Yeah.
And if I'm Washington, I'm probably going to play a lot of single high, and I think they're going to stop the run. And I just don't think Alex Orji is going to be capable of completing passes to beat Washington. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And I would love nothing more to see a 38-34 shootout. But can Michigan score 30 points in a game? Their defense better get a touchdown.
That's a serious question.
Right? But this is how I look at games. What is your offense really capable of doing? It's a pipe dream to think that Alex Orji is going to throw. And Michigan fanfare is saying 150 yards, and he's never been able to do that. And Husky Stadium against Michigan is going to be lit.
Yeah.
It's a must-win desperation football game for Washington. I believe in Jed Fish. I think that I don't believe in Alex Orji. 24-17, I think this is a Washington win. Because really, and again, I look at Michigan, and what I say is, okay, you're 4-1 and you're 2-0 in conference. And you haven't slept in another bed besides your own all season long. And you have sputtered. You beat Fresno State 30-10. Okay. Then a real team showed up and you lost 31-12. And it was not close.
Well, best team in the country.
And you think Texas is the best team?
I think Texas is the best team in the country.
It was not close.
Yeah, you got dominated. So,
Arkansas State, that was scary. USC's better than Michigan.
So SC is an interesting game because I agree USC is better than Michigan, but look at the tackling in that game. Why did SC lose that game? Because you didn't tackle. So what did they do? They ran all over you.
Alex Orji against USC, who's rated, I believe, behind Washington in the Big Ten defensively. 7 of 12, 32 yards, 2.7 average at home.
Yeah.
Why would
a passer, bro?
Why would I believe that he can do 150 yards on the road at Husky Stadium? I don't.
And by the way, why would you believe that they would play call for him to attempt to do that?
I don't think they would.
They wouldn't.
I don't think they would. And I think you make a really good point. It's going to be cloudy. It's going to be 64 degrees with a chance of rain.
That screams running the football and tackling decides the game. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't disagree. The stats say Washington's defense is solid. The stats say they're a good tackling team that's more than capable. But what I'm saying is this is their biggest game of the year to this point under year one in Jed Fish. And I thought going into the SC game that SC's defense was rolling. You played that neutral site against LSU. Like everything was good. And then what did you do? You absolutely flopped on defense.
Will Rogers is a better quarterback than anybody is giving him credit for.
Well, now it's time to show that.
And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that comes out. 24-17. I'm taking Washington. I could be wrong, but I'm still a Jed Fish believer.
Yeah.
I am still a Jed Fish believer. And I think it's going to be huge. UW fan Jim, the Apple Cup was at the Hawks place and tickets were 50-50 split. Okay. Why do I care?
Yeah, what's your point there, Jim?
I don't care where it was played. I don't care when it was played. I don't care if the stadium was all Washington State fans. That was embarrassing. You got beat. And the idea that you're saying that was at the Seahawks stadium, I don't care. Where do the Seahawks play? Oh, that's right. The Seahawks play in Spokane, I think. No, they play in Seattle. I don't care. You cannot lose that game. You can't. If you don't beat Michigan, my guess is you don't win another game this year. Because that schedule is daunting. And Michigan can't score points. Not to the level to beat a Will Rogers-led offense.
Right.
You can't. You can't. It's not. Thomas Reed. My Terps have been a solid mid-tier team in the Big Ten. They have been. I live for the once-a-year upset. That's all I need in the regular bowl appearance, which we have and been winning them. Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
You have. So, UW fan Jim, look at penalties. We have led the Big Ten in face masks. Not kidding. Jed Fish should have stayed at Arizona.
Agreed.
The stadium guy, James. Michigan could have a decent passing attack if they play action pass and get their tight end.
They're not, dude. They're not. It's just
they don't. He can't. Okay, yeah, I agree. Just talking about home field advantage.
Well, it damn well better be a better home field advantage than you had. Because I agree. You're playing in Seattle. That should have been a home field advantage.
The thing that worries you is Washington State's probably a better team than you are, slightly. That was not a good look for Washington. I'm serious. If Washington loses this game, do they win another game this year?
It's a huge question.
Their schedule is tough. Their schedule is really tough. Yeah, Kirk. Washington State's a solid team. Yeah, it's a solid team. A very solid team. As are Miami and Cal. Here we go.
Galford. Brother.
Miami's a 10-point road favorite. Calford, you're a 10-point home dog on a 53.5-point number. 7:30 ESPN. Just initially,
Miami's going to get off to a slow start. They're going to turn the ball over in the first quarter.
Okay.
Because they're playing at midnight their time. Or 10:30 their time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cal's going to come back to earth. And the momentum's going to slow down a little bit. Cam Ward's going to settle in. They're going to start getting some completions. And they're going to start the comeback train. And it's going to take, in my opinion, probably 35 points to win this ball game. On the road, West Coast, tough environment, because you're playing so late your time. I'm saying Miami's going to win this game, but it's going to take every second of that clock to do it. And I do think it's a rough start for Miami.
And my question is, who's the best defense in the ACC? Well, I'm here to tell you it's the California Golden Bears. And I know that everybody's going to be like, Marty, you don't know Scheist from Shorty.
Yeah, it's an SEC show, Marty.
Well, Cal's by statistics and by the eye test, I haven't seen Cal look just dastardly on defense. No. Losing to Florida State was not good, but you lost by giving up 14 points. You gave up 10 to San Diego State, 14 at Auburn, and 13 against UC Davis. This is a really good defense. This is a really good defense, and we're about to find out how good, because you're home for Miami, at Pitt, NC State, Oregon State, at Wake Forest. I don't know that you will give up more than, after the Miami game, my guess is you don't give up more than 3 scores in a football game until you go to SMU to end the season after Thanksgiving. But you want to talk about some numbers. Who's the third best defense in the ACC? And this is where the rubber's going to meet the road. And Miami's going to pound the hell out of Cal. Because my question is, who is the worst offense statistically? That'd be Cal, is the worst offense in the ACC. Florida State. California's only scored 92 points. They averaged 23 points a game. And here's the part that really scares you. Miami scored 32 touchdowns this year. Cal scored 11. I said all the entirety of they scored 11 touchdowns all season. 5 field goals. Meanwhile, Miami doesn't kick field goals. 32 touchdowns, 7 field goals, 247 points. They're averaging 49.4 points a game. Now, let's also not get carried away here, friends, because Miami at 5-0, he was laying out of bounds and nobody had possession of the ball. They've beaten Florida A&M, Ball State, South Florida, and Virginia Tech. California on the road in Berkeley represents the single best challenge of the season for Mr. Can't Win the Games I'm Supposed to Win, Mario Cristobal, and the Miami Hurricane. The Utes! I love Miami in this game, but they're not scoring 49 points.
No.
They're going to win this game 24-6 because I don't believe Cal can score a touchdown. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think that this is much more than that for Miami. I think we're 35 10.
No way.
Yes. Yes way. Because I agree, Cal's not going to be able to move the football. So if Cal's not moving the football, what does that mean? Oh yeah, Miami's got extra possessions. Which then means, hey, and by the way, can we just point out the elephant in the room? You lost to Florida
Call
State.
me fat.
Dude, you lost to Florida
Oh,
State, bro. Yeah, you're bad. You lost to Florida State 14-9. What? So again, there's some convincing that I need to see happen with Cal's offense.
Fernando.
Yeah, I mean, dude, come on, bro.
Fernando Mendoza, here's what scares you. He's completing 67.5% of his passes. Okay, who are you, Alex Orgy? Right? I mean, if I said your quarterback was completing 67% of his passes and, he's got 892 yards, you'd be like, woohoo. Here's the problem. 68% of his completions against UC Davis, 69 against a mid-Auburn team, 72% against a pretty crappy San Diego State team. Then he showed up at Florida State and dropped a 61% completion percentage.
What a loser!
And the other problem is he threw the ball 36 times and completed or racked up 303 yards of passing offense. So against the better teams, they're behind, so they have to throw more, and he gets exposed.
Yep.
And if there's going to be a better defense that damn boys over there are facing, I don't know what it is, because I'm telling you now, Ruben Bain, Mash Powell at the back end, like, this is a legitimate defense, and that offense, I don't know how to tell you that Xavier Restrepo is a stud wide receiver.
And bro.
Damian Martinez in the running offense, Cam Ward, I think, is right there at the top of the Heisman list. This doesn't end well for Cal, but I think 28 points against a very good Cal defense, again, the best defense in the ACC. I just don't see how you score against Miami. 28-10. 28-10 is what it feels like. I'll give him a touchdown. 28-10.
I'm saying 35-10.
35-10.
I think they make a statement. I think that offense is explosive.
Ooh.
And I think it would be very easy. Like I said, they're going to get off to a slow start. But I think it would be very easy for people to say, 10:30 at night game, it's late. And I agree, it is late. But you've got.
Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, I just think that they're going to impress. I think they're going to show out. It's an opportunity to, and I don't think that's lost on them.
You cannot. You have to be perfect if you're California. The Bears have to play elite defense, which you expect them to do. But the stupid penalties and the mistakes that have seemingly reigned over the Wilcox era.
But if you're shook at home, you're going to be prone to that.
I don't disagree with that. The stadium guy, James. Cam Ward is a great quarterback. He's no Preston Stone.
But he'll do.
And will lead Miami to the playoff. Canes will roll at Cal. Okay? UW fan Jim, not making excuses for the loss. Just say that did not represent our home field advantage.
Okay. Yeah, we've moved on from that now, bud.
Jim. Calford, and stop missing kicks. You got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Especially in offense. Mike Smith was just talking about the Husky season, not an individual game. However, your point is spot on, dude. That abides. Okay. ACC West, Commissioner Gumby. Miami's going to blow up the Bears O-line. Cal will struggle to move the ball offensively. Defense might show up. Cal's a pretty good defense. But Miami has hogs on the O-line, plus Cal can't kick field goals. The field goal thing is legitimate, right? And if you're looking at field goals in the ACC, Cal's got 5, bottom half. Miami's got 7, and they don't kick field goals. You know what the even worse kicking number is? Cal's only got 11 extra points. Because they've only scored 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's they're perfect on extra points at 11. Gumby says Miami by 17 at least. Okay. Michigan is exactly on track if you look at wins and losses. They got a huge helping hand against Minnesota. They're not exactly on track. This is, and again, I will just say, delusional Michigan fan, I just ask you, have I been wrong about Michigan on any level at any point in time? This offense is not good. They are not on track, and Alex Orji cannot throw you to a win. So, and if you're on track and you feel good about what you've seen on the field, then I don't know what you've been watching. Miami at Cal equals communist versus convicts.
Okay.
Politics at its finest. Gumby says Willie Cox needs fired. 31-3 Miami. Mike Smith, Gumby will be a temp one-game OC for the Miami game, and the Bears will pull an upset. Let's hope so. Miami dropping at least 40. Wow. Jalik says, okay. Mike Smith, with Calford funding your NIL, you got this. Exactly. Exactly. And Donuts, Berkeley is weird. Anything could happen. That stadium, Big Daddy Magic. Hey, player, you going to UFC 307?
Bro.
The only UFC I do is on Prize Picks. Prize Picks, if you're a UFC fan, Prize Picks is phenomenal for UFC. Phenomenal for UFC. In fact, let's pull out the old Prize Picks app.
Yeah, will you pull it out real quick? Would you mind?
I'm the adult in the room.
Yeah, I am.
Apparently you're not. If I could work an iPhone. On the UFC. On Prize Picks. Come on. Hello. Thank you. Is it me you're looking for?
Yes.
My Prize Picks app is not happy right now. Hello, there it is right there. They have got significant. Ooh. That is a lot of okay. Alex Pereira is 40.5 significant strikes. Okay. Mario Bautista is 65.5 against Aldo.
At the fight time one.
Okay.
Less than 8.5 fight time minutes for Alex Pereira. I kind of like that one.
Against Khalil Roundtree.
Yeah.
Saturday, 10-10.
Yeah.
8.5 minute fight time. So you're expecting
shorter fight.
Yeah. What's the takedown number? Because that's always
feel like not all the guys are in here yet.
They don't have one.
Yeah.
On takedowns. Yeah. UFC on Prize Picks is amazing.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going. Let the bodies hit the floor. It's going to be a great weekend, and hopefully Notre Dame doesn't embarrass themselves. Thank you, Big Daddy Magic.
That's great, dude.
Don't you mean hopefully the Buffalo Bills?
The Bills.
Don't Big Daddy Magic is a huge Buffalo Bills fan.
Yeah.
And he's always sending me videos about how, Allen's the best quarterback in the history of the world. And it's amazing. And we're going to Texas and we're going to beat the Texans. Frankly, Buffalo's -1. They're going to lose that game. I'm taking the Texans all day.
Yeah.
Every day. All right. Let's get to the game you guys really care about. The biggest game of the weekend, the Carolina Panthers at the Chicago Bears.
Stay hard. Are you going to fly the flag before the game starts? Or are you going to wait till after? It's just a question, dude. I mean, it's Red Rocket Week. Like,
the Bears are going to beat wholesale ass. They will win the Super Bowl in like 12 years.
Right.
We are coming for Carolina. Well, they're coming to Chicago, so we don't really have to go anywhere. I'm the 55th guy on the roster. I love my Chicago Bears. -4, 40.5. And my biggest question is, what will the Bears do to run the football? It is my single biggest question. I have big concerns about the Bears' ability. I told you they would beat the Rams last week, but why did they beat the Rams last week? Because DeAndre Swift averaged 5.8 yards a carry, 16 carries, 93 yards. Against a better defense than the Carolina Panthers. You've got to do that again. You've got to break 100 yards, and you've got to average 4 yards a carry. If you do that, Caleb Williams is a better quarterback. If you do that, that means you're probably able to play action, pass the ball to DeAndre Swift, who also last week putting up 165 total yards. 72 of those were receiving.
Right.
The guy absolutely delivered last week. And the thing that worries you is Caleb now is limiting his turnovers, it seems. But this offense is being weighed down by really bad play calling. And I go back to the question about the Bears. When will they open the offense and allow Caleb Williams to play his style of offense? When they do that, this team's going to go on a run of 4 or 5 games in a row. And I do think that they're going to win back-to-back games, get over 500. I love the Bears in this game. I also love the Bears to cover the number. They're a 4-point favorite. This is a Bears win, cover, and over. Love the Bears this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a reasonable pick. I think, the Panthers thing, in all seriousness, kind of feels like hey, Andy stepped in. Everyone got excited. A better quarterback was in there. Let's see what they can do. And if it's real or if it's fake, and it was just 1 week. And I think, the Bears, I agree with everything you said. At some point, you got to let Caleb play his game. And what better week to do that than against a bad Carolina team? I mean, if there was ever a week where you were going to take a little bit more risk with the play calling, let him make some decisions, see what he does with it, that would be this week. And so, yeah, I would agree with you. I think it's win, cover, over.
Mayor McCluskey, the mayor of Monty Town. Wow, Panthers versus Bears. This might be as exciting as Centerville Junior High versus Moeller Park Junior High girls volleyball.
Well, are you taking more or less? I mean, what's the pick here?
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But Monty, Carolina has Big Red Andy Dalton.
The Red Rocket.
Best quarterback in the history of the Chicago Bears.
Bears.
Off.
Final.
Good to see. Why?
Because it's the signature drop. I owe it to the guy.
Jeff Geoff broke his back once. And now
Back is broken.
No, it's not. It's healed.
I broke my back.
Guys, this game is going to be terrible. It is not going to be.
Yeah.
The Bears are going to win.
I mean, seriously, is this not one of the worst weekends in football we have this year?
It is.
Like college, NFL,
It is. I agreed. Brandon Butler, these next few games for the monsters of the Midway, the Chicago Bears need to be get-right games. Time to improve. It really is. You need to take the next step forward.
Yes.
And my biggest concern with Matt Eberflus, the head coach of the Chicago Bears, is that he's trying to keep his job, not trying to develop a quarterback.
Yes.
And it's a huge problem. The Bears should host the Panthers, feed them some deep dish pizza, then give them chocolate cake laced with X-Lax. Then the Bears will win. So if they don't commit a felony, you're saying they're not going to win.
Bro, are you okay? Like your comments have been a little different today.
The Bears have to poison the Panthers in order to win the game.
Who are you, the pizza guy and Michael Jordan?
Kay Nurin, the Bears win with defense. Amen. Team Monty made this a must-watch game. Yes, we did.
We try our best.
You're welcome. My neck and back, broke it. Yeah. My
back
neck
is broken.
My neck.
Spinal.
UW fan Jim, Monty picking the dogs makes me nervous. He picked the Ducks twice in Texas. Don't mess with success. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Mayor McCluskey, breaking news, scam rising as a game time decision for the bye week. #Fingergate.
Yeah, it's gonna be real close, man. He'll suit it up and try to go.
Can we make Fingergate a trending hashtag on Twitter?
Having fun is the name of the game.
We should. Bears 19-15.
Wow, real barn burner there.
Why? Thanks for nothing. How about the Cleveland Browns at the Washington Commanders?
Yeah.
Nick Chubb was back at practice yesterday.
Looking nice.
And they're excited about it. He's not going to play this week, it looks like. I love the Commanders in this game.
Yeah.
I think that defense is want to. I think Jaden Daniels has been a revelation in Washington. I think this is a touchdown win for Washington. Cleveland will have the opportunity to win the game. The question is, are you going to get a holding call on the center that's a phantom call while Amari Cooper's running down the field? It wasn't a phantom call. That just, you don't throw that flag. You don't. I like the Commanders in this game.
Absolutely. And, that's why I took Jaden Daniels on Prize Picks more than 211.5 passing yards in this game. I think the train keeps rolling for Washington, man. They'll have to grind in this game a little bit. Browns have a good defense, physical defense, but I would fully expect the Commanders to win this game. I think, the -3, I would expect them to cover. The 43.5 is the one I'm not sure about, because if the Commanders come out and play their best game, I think the Browns are going to struggle to score a little bit. So
Yeah.
I would say my instinct says win, cover under, but
Win, cover under.
yeah. So I'm thinking 27, 13.
I think that there will be points scored in this game. I'm a little worried. Obviously, the Browns defense is banged up. They don't have an offensive line right now. I think the Washington Commanders, you all right over there?
Yeah.
It's Friday.
The
Washington Commanders will get the job done here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of the more entertaining games of the weekend. I do. Fat old Mormon and dying. Let's go Washington football team.
Like, how bad as an ownership group do you have to be that was your name for a season? Like, come on.
The Washington football team.
Come on.
Hit the like
Utah
button,
Hockey
Kaner,
Club?
says. Yes. Tanner says, man, the Commanders are good. They are. Rome is on the injury report for a hip this week. Jim Rome's hurt. Is he still doing his show?
Man, dude, I don't know. We'll have to check.
Yeah, Rome Odunze's not the most healthiest dude ever.
Yeah.
You're not. KG says, fight on. I agree. USC. Show me you're not the defense you said you weren't. Show me you're not the defense
Show
you said
me you can
weren't.
tackle somebody.
The stadium guy, James. I hate the name Commanders. They should have went with Red Tails.
I don't know what you're doing today, bro. With all due respect.
Is this you popped an edible before the show, didn't you? That's what this is. Come on.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Come on. Delaric, Washington football team is still a better name than the Commanders. I don't disagree. Illumin Dursky, a member of the show for 13 months.
Let's go, buddy.
Thank you for your show. Thank you for helping us make the show possible. Fat old Mormon and dying. They should have went with at the stadium guy, James. I'm never going to say that name again. I think they should have gone with the Washington Obamas. I mean, that was the most.
See that was a Barack reference.
Okay. I'm just Steely Matt. Boyd Lake, my bad. Steely Matt says, have a great weekend. What did Boyd Lake say? You too, my friend. Boyd Lake Commanders, is it much better as a name? It's not, Boyd.
Yeah, but when you do like the Utah Hockey Club or the Washington football team, like it just sounds so like I don't care about the name of my team.
I agree.
Like we're just here to make money. Like it just is not a good look.
Did BYU fan notice the statistical change from the Baylor game, by the way?
What's that?
Jake Retzloff was credited with another touchdown to Chase Roberts because they had originally I don't know if Baylor just doesn't have smart people in their statistical analysis department.
Uh-huh.
There was an argument about, was it a lateral? Was it a backward pass? It was never a backward pass. The stat was adjusted. It is now a touchdown pass for Jake Retzloff to Chase Roberts.
Yeah.
So.
Sweet.
I want Gary Bohannon to start for BYU.
Okay. Where's that guy gone? Stadium guy James. Washington Warriors would have been cool.
See, like that works. That's fine. I don't like it, but that's fine.
Okay. How about Washington Red Tails or Red Hogs? Illumin Dursky, how about Washington Red Tape? Could be that. I'm not playing your game, Gumby. I won't say it. How about the Washington water ice?
Water ice.
Water ice.
Hey, you got some water ice over
Water
there?
ice. Water ice. I can't not say it. Hell yeah. Give Retzloff that touchdown. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. TDs, something Utah isn't familiar with this year. God, BYU fan, you better beat Utah.
You better beat Utah, dude.
If you don't win the Holy War, oh my God. Don't show up for work on Monday. Hashtag Fingergate.
Hashtag PT&O if you lose to Utah.
Hey, anybody see Mayor McCloskey? He's not in the office today.
Monty, he took a vacation.
Gainer and BYU gets inspired this week, goes 9-1 in the Big 12. With the one loss being to Utah. A. Charles W. says Washington Watergates.
Watergates.
The Nixons. How about the Nixons? Another Tutty. Exactly right. How about stop being PC and stayed with that other name? Yeah, can't do it.
No.
Can't do it. All right. Do we talk about food or do we just end the show today?
No, we're good. We're good.
Jake's done.
Yeah, we're good.
Lazy ass.
Hey, man, that's what is that? I mean, we did 3 hours almost every day this week.
We do 3 hours every day. That's exactly right. See you up at Canyons Golf this weekend. The golf season's coming to an end, and I'm bitter about it.
Yes,
I'm bitter about it. Get up to the mountains, you guys. Enjoy if you're in a mountain region, enjoy the fall colors. I'm doing that this weekend. I'll be up at Canyons Resort. Then we're going to drive Guardsman Pass. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, thanks for being here, you guys. We could not do this without you. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for all your donations. Thanks for hitting the like button. If the worst happens this weekend, get to theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. You never pay out of pocket for risk-free, quality legal advice. Chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. Until Monday, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.